The Senate Finance Committee held a critical hearing on the future of the USMCA, the trade agreement this administration loves to take credit for, but seems determined to undermine. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat of Nevada, led a pointed line of questioning, joined by former Congressman Kevin Brady, a Republican trade policy veteran from Texas, and industry representative Mr. McCarthy from the manufacturing sector. What unfolded was a remarkable moment of bipartisan consensus, that the Trump administration's erratic tariff policies and hostile rhetoric are actively damaging American tourism, threatening auto industry supply chains, and breaking the very promises this president's own trade team signed in his first term.
Thank you. Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you. Thank you to the panelists. Congressman Brady, I'd like to start with you and talk a little bit about tourism. As you know, tourism is one of America's top exports, accounting for over $200 billion in value per year. Unfortunately, what we are seeing in Nevada and across the country, because of some of the rhetoric and bad policies of this administration, the number of international visitors who traveled to the U.S. in 2025 fell by 4.2%. That's the first decline since COVID-19. We've seen a particularly sharp decline in visitors coming from Canada because of the trade wars, as well as the rhetoric coming out of this administration. I recently introduced with Senator Moran the USMCA Travel and Tourism Resiliency Act to add a travel working group to the agreement to break down barriers to travel and improve coordination on travel policies in North America. What we are asking is that the trade representative, as part of the looking at the USMCA, consider a working group that focuses on tourism and travel as well with these two countries and how important it is for the United States. Do you think that this review represents an opportunity to reset and strengthen ties with Canada and Mexico and support U.S. services exports like tourism?
Senator, I would certainly hope so. International tourism is a big driver in so many of our communities, certainly in where I live in Texas, but where I grew up in the Black Hills of South Dakota. International tourism from around the world, including from Canada, was a big part of our economy, along with the military and agriculture. And so, yeah, I would hope that those types of discussions, initiated by Congress through your constitutional authority in this review, I think that's an important conversation, an opportunity, hopefully to gain back those visitors, and to grow from there. We are a great place to visit, as you know. This is really important to our economies. In states where we rely on property taxes, those visitors' taxes and restaurants and all that really help offset some of that as well. So it's a great part of our economy. I hope we can continue to grow it.
Yeah, and I would appreciate, because of your work and past work with the USMCA, thank you so much, and your knowledge. I know Senator Moran and I would welcome any input that you have with respect to creating this working group. It's going to be something new as part of the negotiations or renegotiations as we're looking at USMCA. But I think it is also a marker that this trade agreement and other trade agreements should also have something similar, a travel and tourism piece to it, because I think many ignore the impacts of travel and tourism to our economy. It's $1 trillion industry. It is something important for many of our states. It creates jobs, it helps our small businesses, and it promotes the United States and how wonderful this country is. So whatever thoughts you have in the future, I would appreciate.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Be happy to.
Thank you. Mr. McCarthy, let me ask you, when the U.S. agreed to the USMCA, part of the agreement that we memorialized in a letter was that the United States would exclude most vehicles and auto parts from future Section 232 tariffs. The letters were actually signed by President Trump's former trade representative, Robert Lighthizer, to whom our current trade representative was chief of staff. The current 232 imposed by the administration auto tariffs completely ignores these binding agreements they signed in the first term. I'm curious, how have these actions affected business certainty, sourcing decisions, and investment planning?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. Tariffs are certainly a concern for us, as with all manufacturing industries. We have an incredibly complex global supply chain. Oh,
Thank you very much. So we do rely on inputs to produce in the U.S., and that's one of the reasons when I speak with our members, the issue you talk about of certainty, their number one priority as they look to 2026 is USMCA. Having that certainty going forward and having that continuity. We have incredibly long investment cycles. 3 years is yesterday, and forward is yesterday for us. And the USMCA has enabled us to build those secure, local, resilient supply chains. It's been an enabler for us to be more competitive globally. So we validated it with our board, our CEO councils. Their big answer, their number one priority, they tell us, is we need that continuation of USMCA. We need that certainty so we can continue the job growth that I talked about. We can continue that investment going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Whitehouse.
First, let me welcome.
Senator Catherine Cortez Masto laid out methodically and with precision a damning case that the Trump administration is not only failing to uphold the trade agreements it once celebrated as its crowning achievement, it is actively sabotaging them. The USMCA, which Donald Trump himself championed as a historic replacement for NAFTA, is now being undermined by the very people who negotiated it. The side letters excluding auto parts from Section 232 tariffs were signed by Robert Lighthizer, Trump's own trade representative in his first term. The current trade representative served as Lighthizer's chief of staff. These are not strangers to the agreement. These are its architects. And yet, this administration has chosen to impose the very tariffs that its own negotiators promised would never come. That is a breach of trust with our allies, with our trading partners, and with American businesses who built their investment strategies around those commitments. Mr. McCarthy, representing the manufacturing sector, told that committee in no uncertain terms, certainty is their number one priority, certainty. Because when you operate on investment cycles where, as he put it, 3 years is yesterday, you cannot plan, you cannot hire, and you cannot grow when the rules change on a whim from the Oval Office. That is not economic strength. Then there's the tourism story, and this one should alarm every governor, every mayor, and every small business owner in America. A 4.2% decline in international visitors in 2025, the first drop since the darkest days of COVID-19. And this wasn't caused by a pandemic, it was caused by rhetoric. It was caused by a president who has made America feel unwelcoming to the world. Canada, our closest ally, our largest source of international visitors, they're staying home. And who can blame them when the leader of the free world talks about annexing their country and wages a trade war against them? Senator Cortez Masto's proposed USMCA Travel and Tourism Resiliency Act is exactly the kind of pragmatic, bipartisan solution this moment demands. A working group dedicated to travel within the USMCA framework, it sounds simple because it is. And yet, it's necessary precisely because this administration has managed to turn even our friendliest borders into barriers. Former Congressman Kevin Brady, a Republican, a Texan, a man who chaired the House Ways and Means Committee, didn't push back. He agreed. He spoke warmly about international tourism, about communities in South Dakota and Texas that depend on Canadian visitors. When a Republican trade hawk and a Democratic senator from Nevada are saying the same thing, that should tell you something about just how far off course this administration has gone. This hearing was about the USMCA, but really, it was about something bigger. It was about whether America keeps its word, whether we honor our commitments, whether we treat our neighbors as partners or as adversaries. And right now, under this administration, the answer to all three of those questions is deeply troubling. The USMCA review is coming. Congress has the constitutional authority to shape it. And if today's hearing is any indication, there are members on both sides of the aisle who understand what's at stake.